evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Coast to Coast Racing Thursday Night Xfinity Series. Today, for round 8, we're at the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and it is coming down to the wire for the season championship. As always, I'm your host, James East, bringing the action 1080p 60 frames a second. As let's check out the grid for tonight's main event. As always, thank you all so much to our fans, friends, and family from across the world. Tune in, supporting the broadcast, as we would not be able to do it without you. Let's run through the grid. Bradley Wilson starting the number 1 spot. Brian Lorenzo starting second. Joseph Girard starting third. Jeffrey Belk starting fourth. We've got Ollie Reeves starting fifth. Davis Lewis sixth in the grid. Alex Tallman starting seventh. Bradley Hall starting eighth. We've got Austin Stevens starting ninth. Mitchell Mumma starting 10th. Chris Sawyer starts 11th. Wes Gallo 12th on the grid. Cycling it back one more time. Bryn George starting 13th. And Alex Goss will round out the 14-car grid here tonight. And it's going to be a good one as always, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you all so much. Good to come on board late in the season with our Coast to Coast friends, as we always have a whole lot of fun on a Thursday night. Let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on, as the drivers will very frequently have this broadcast pulled up on a separate screen. If not, they just about always go back and watch it over. And they definitely notice and appreciate the fans that are out here each and every week cheering them on, willing them to go faster, at the very least do something exciting where it's going to be wildly entertaining for both fans and broadcaster alike. Now, if you're coming in late in the season, only 8 drivers currently in the championship playoffs. We're going to pull that up. It's Brian Lorenzo, Ollie Reeves, Jeffrey Belk, Austin Doran, Bradley Wilson, Garrett Delph, Austin Stevens, and Clayton Kinkart. The top 8 drivers in the playoffs here. And keep an eye out. The playoff drivers will have a special banner across the front of these Xfinity cars. They will have the kind of light blue, almost Team Goon Squad blue on the left side of that windscreen, while the non-playoff drivers will have a black highlighted banner. Pace car is in. And away we go, 100 laps at Lucky Las Vegas. Who's going to gamble and bring it home here tonight for the Coast to Coast Racing Series? Right now it's Wilson and Jara on the front row. Wilson getting a comfortable gap. Now, talking to some of the drivers, Wilson known for his short run pace here. It's going to be interesting to see how that number 51 Toyota Camry holds on as right behind Lorenzo and Jara side by side. Lorenzo ripping the high line, Jara down low. And it looks like Lorenzo is going to hold on to that second place spot. Lorenzo qualifying second, a little bit better than he was expecting tonight. Talking to him in that virtual hauler before tonight's broadcast, he was thinking he was going to be maybe a top 5, top 10 car, but now that he's up there in that second place spot, may change his strategy ever so slightly here today. As the field hints at some 3-wide action, Lorenzo looking to the right side of Wilson, right behind Belk and Jara. Stacking up, we're going to get them 2 wide, 2 rows deep here. Wilson holding on to that inside line. Lorenzo up high. Also looks like Belk going high as well. Jara on the inside line. It looks like Alex Tallman joining the high line as well. Tallman now up 3 spots, making his way up into 4th at the number 8 Chevrolet. Now, last week, these drivers at Phoenix went green almost the entirety of the race. To a very talented group of drivers coming out on Thursday night. And I'm just pumped to see the Xfinity cars out on track. Some of the best, I think, driving cars on the iRacing service. Definitely a driver's car. Lorenzo, your race leader, has made his way around Wilson. Wilson's fallen back to 3rd as Jeffrey Belk takes over the 2nd place spot. Belk looks, there he goes, getting clear of the number 51 Lorenzo. Excuse me, of Wilson. As right now it's Lorenzo, Belk, Wilson, Tallman, Jara, your top 5. and a pretty stacked field of drivers here tonight. Now, it looks like Alex Goss in that number 3 machine, did not start. So he is out for the night. Thankfully for him, he is not in playoff contention, so was planning on coming out to get some laps, but not going to be in the cards. Look at Jeffrey Belk in the 55 machine, working his way around Lorenzo. He's up 3 spots. He's your new race leader. 6 laps in, I believe we had 3 different leaders so far. And let's see, Belk showing good short run speed here tonight. Will he be able to hold on to it? Because again, green flag runs, not uncommon here for the Coast to Coast National Series. So this could be a game of tire management. Drivers have 65% fuel allotment, 1 fast repair, and 2 sets of tires available to them this evening. A little bit further back in the field, we got Austin Stevens, Chris Sawyer. We got a bunch of stuff going on. From about 5th place back with Ollie Reeves in the 31 machine. Ollie Reeves, you've got Jara, Hall, Stevens, Sawyer, Lewis, all in a nice tight pack, running 5th to about 10th here tonight. And just great racing all across the track here in Las Vegas. Looks like Lorenzo staying right there with Belk in the 55 machine. Belk holding on to it, but it looks like Lorenzo's stalking him. Bradley Wilson trying to catch back up to these top 2, but we've got some excitement going on towards the back as Austin Stevens has worked his way around Hall, and here we go. The first crash is in progress. The number 23 of, that's going to be Bradley Hall, big into that one. Looks like Chris Sawyer, the 25 also. Oh, it's going to be a big one. Mitchell Mama. Oh, it is an absolute yard sale here at Las Vegas. Look at this, flipping the 07 Wes Gallo back on his roof. Well done. I think that was Mitchell Mama helping out a good friend. Absolutely fantastic there. Let's take a look and see where it all went wrong. As there we go. Let's back that camera angle up and enhance. This was a crash that took a long time to develop. So we're keeping an eye out on we're going to start with the 25, Chris Sawyer. Looked like he was getting a little bit loose there coming out of 4. There's the 23 of Bradley Hall and the 42 of Austin Stevens right in front. Does Sawyer get loose, or does he maybe get tagged by the 14s? It's going to be interesting to see. Going. I think he's going to get some help here, ladies and gentlemen. Gone is the camera angle. Yep, spins it around, tags the 23. That's Bradley Hall down low. Here comes the 07 Wes Gallo, nowhere to go. And then look what happens to Mitchell Mama in the 98 machine. This is about to get spectacular. Very, very quickly. Mama locking up the brakes on that number 98. Actually, let's take it back. Let's go to Wes Gallo over here, because this might be the replay of the night right here. Why are the cameras so bad at Las Vegas? Gets absolutely drilled by Mitchell Mama. Up and over he goes. Wes Gallo punted to the cheap sheets. Mama gets punted by, I think that's George right behind him. Let's speed that up. Just pirouetting through the air. Absolutely obliterated. But look at this play of the night. Mitchell Mama says, hey, that's my badger on your roof. Let me get you back pointing the right way. And just like that, good friends are made out on track. That is going to rapidly whittle down the field here, I think. As we're showing, a lot of people came down pit road. Mitchell Mama, Alex Tallman, Davis Lewis, Bryn George, Bradley Hall, Wes Gallo, Chris Sawyer, all came down pit road, leaving the top 6 drivers out on track. What a wild start to the night here, ladies and gentlemen. And we are going to try this again. It's going to be Belk, Lorenzo, the front row. Wilson, Reeves, your second row. Dara, Stevens, your third row with our first caution of the night. Starting to see some more folks getting here into the spectator area. That's a good sign that some drivers may be out for the night. Although, I say that, they do have one fast repair at their disposal. Pace car dives down pit road. And away they go. Green flag racing after our first caution of the night. Looks to be about 12 drivers still out on track. But I believe 11 on the lead lap. Belk picks up an early race lead. Wilson right in tow, right behind them. Lorenzo and Reeves battling side by side. Let's see up front, Wilson and Belk going at it. Wilson taking back over on that inside line. Now again, your top 6 drivers still on their original set of tires, opting to stay out for the track position. Not really feeling the need for fresh rubber underneath them yet. As it looks like Wilson and Belk have picked up about 3/10 of advantage over Reeves, the number 31 Chevrolet sitting third. But up front, Wilson and Belk staying relatively close within 2/10 early on. Looks like Belk keeps looking to the high line here. It seems to me that the fast line has been weighted on the apron for most of these drivers. But that will change over the duration of the run here tonight. Here we go again. Belk trying to work the outside line. The side draft against the 51 of Wilson. Well, looks like he's going to have it here by just 0.05 of a second. How is Wilson going to answer? Wilson on the inside line pulls the gap ever so slightly. Coming out of 4 right behind them. That's Reeves and Lorenzo. Side by side, and a hectic battle going on for 5th place back. But right now, it looks like Wilson's going to hold on to the race lead. Let's go a little bit further back to Alex Tallman, who has his hands full with Jara, and we got Mama, Stevens, Lewis. The gang's all here. They're just great racing all the way around as they drag race down the back stretch. And it is too close to call here. Belk and Wilson still going side by side. Reeves and Lorenzo trying to fight for that 3rd place spot, and maybe just biding their time here with how intently Wilson and Belk are battling. Surely they're using up just a little bit more tire than our 3rd and 4th place guys, Reeves and Lorenzo. And this 4-car pack has pulled about a 9/10 advantage over 5th place Alex Tallman. Oh, look at this. Wilson going very high here. Haven't seen that so far this evening. And it looks like it's going to work well for him as he is good and clear of Jeffrey Belk's 55. And now Belk has company from Ollie Reeves trying to work his way a little bit. And look at this. There's Lorenzo also ripping the high line. He maybe saw what the 51 did and said, all right, maybe there's something to this here. And all the while, this pack still extending that gap to Tallman, just about 1 second ahead of the 5th place driver now. Bradley Wilson extending the gap rather quickly, just about a half second ahead of Belk. Again, we know he has short run speed. What about the long run pace here tonight? "21 laps in." I would imagine the pit window is going to open up between lap 30 and 40 tonight. We haven't had any concrete numbers from the drivers or crew chief, so it's a little bit of educated guess from races I've called in the past. Now as Lorenzo, Reeves, and Belk continue to dice it up here, that's only going to allow Wilson a chance to extend that gap. Now 3/4 of a second ahead of this 3-car pack. Second, third, fourth runs Belk, Lorenzo, and Reeves. Will these three start to work together, try and reel on that 51 Toyota Camry of Wilson? Or are they going to spend too much time dicing it up here? As I say that, even while they run single file, second, third, fourth, Wilson has extended the gap to 1.1 second over the rest of the field. 23 laps in, we've had one caution so far tonight. And just shy of a quarter of the race clicked off. And there's Belk, but we've got problems at the back. It shows Davis Lewis involved in an incident in the 14 machine. Well, let's see what happened to Lewis here. Oh, we gotta back that up. Did he tag the wall all by his lonesome? Did he get a little bit of help? What happens here? Looks like Lewis gets, oh no, Lewis gets tagged. I think that was the 98 of Mumma tagged the wall, but then poor Lewis with nowhere to go as the 98 bounced across the outside wall, gets sent to the cheap seats. And that will bring out our second caution of the night. They're 25 laps in. I think this is the point we may see some drivers come down pit road. Is Wilson going to commit? Yes, he is. He comes down pit road. Looks like Alex Tallman, the number 8 machine, will be one of the lone drivers staying out, but Tallman did come in on lap 11. And maybe he took 4 tires that stop, trying to get off cycle, and could be a good call as he will be the race leader for this next restart. Tallman, then the number 8 Chevrolet, is currently up 6 spots based on that pit strategy. So it's going to be Alex Tallman, one of the lone drivers out on track here, holding on to lap 11 tires. Now, Wes Gallo did return out on track after 8 minutes and 40 seconds in pit road. I wonder if he used his fast repair a little prematurely. And we'll get them lined up back double file here tonight at Las Vegas. Like Tallman doing a little bit of tire warming, perhaps? An interesting strategy considering he's on 14 lap older tires than the rest of the field. I would imagine his are probably warmer. Looks like we've got one more lap of I-pacing as Hall and Mama and Gallo have come down pit road. Chris Sawyer stays out in the 25, trying to get another lap back here. He's, I believe, 2 laps down from the race. I think he's getting a lucky dog right now. Yes, he is. The number 25 machine ripping around, catching up back to the field. So let's try this once more at Las Vegas after our second caution of the night. It's going to be Tallman and Wilson on the front row, but keep an eye out on that number 8 machine. He is on much older tires, 14 laps. Green flag is out. Tallman gets a pretty solid launch, all things considered, as Wilson squeezes his way down the inside line just ahead of Jeffrey Belk. Now, I would imagine pretty much everybody's going to be able to rip around Tallman here using those fresh tires underneath them, but they're also going to be a little bit looser until the tires come in, get some heat in them. As Wilson's taking over the race lead, looks like Reeves almost getting to the back of Tallman there. Squeezing by on the high line. Reeves takes over second. Now it's going to be Jeffrey Belk trying to make a move as well in the 55. Side by side in the battle for third. Belk up high, Tallman down low, and unfortunately Tallman feeling the effects of those tires. And oh no, we've got another one. No caution. That was Austin Stevens involved in that with the 42 machine. Able to hold on to it though. What a fantastic save out of Stevens. I thought for certain the caution was going to come out there. And Tallman, unfortunately, just in a rough spot here. Is now Bradley Hall trying to work his way around. Meanwhile, up front, it's once again Wilson, your race leader in the 51 Toyota Camry. Ollie Reeves in the 31 Chevrolet. Just about a quarter of a second back. But Wilson has been absolutely on fire here tonight. Now coming into tonight, I believe Wilson 15 points behind the race leader, the season leader, Brian Lorenzo. Ollie Reeves trying to catch back up to Wilson. But it looks like Jeffrey Belk closing the gap in the 55 machine as well, inching back up closer inside the top three. Belk has about a 9/10 advantage over Bryn George in fourth. Bradley Hall currently sitting in fifth here. So after last week's very long green flag run, not the case here at Las Vegas late into the season. Two relatively early cautions so far, and now a possible three-car battle for the lead. You've got Wilson, Reeves, Belk running 1, 2, 3 here tonight. And it looks like George and the number 12 Ford Mustang starting to close the gap to these top three. Now every time these guys go side by side, as we watch Reeves and Belk do, that punches a massive hole in the air for George, Hall, and Mama, who are linked up nose to tail. And here comes Jeffrey Belk working the high line once more on the 55 machine. Will Belk challenge Wilson here? Belk had a pretty good qualifying. Started off in fourth, and has worked his way up to second. Hard Charger out on track, though. It's got to be George in that number 12 machine. He's up 9 positions so far tonight. And here we go. Ollie Reeves has fallen off just a little bit. He's about a half second back now behind the top two. And looks like George may have gotten a little bit loose there coming out of two, setting up for a big drive into three. We're going to go side by side through 3 and 4. Wilson way up high, Belk down low. Looks like Wilson's going to carry just a little bit more speed there, pulling a 2/10 gap over Belk. But these guys are giving plenty of opportunity to each other to measure each other up, see what lines they're taking. And this could give us maybe a hint at what's going to happen late in the race. Go a little bit further back. Interesting enough, Alex Tallman's come down pit road for a green flag stop. He was on much older tires. About, at this point, he's been 28 laps on his run, so not sure if maybe he feels he needs the tires or just maybe fixing some damage here, not feeling fast in the long run. Now, this is going to be interesting. Right now, Bradley Wilson runs first. Lorenzo, who is leading the points chase, 10th out on track here tonight. This could really tighten up our championship. If, and that's a big if, we got a lot of laps left, if Bradley Wilson can finish that top spot here tonight, as he runs relatively uncontested. Checking back in with Wilson, your race leader, a 4/10 gap over Jeffrey Belk, a 1.2 second gap over Ollie Reeves. So Wilson getting to prove his long run pace here tonight. After that lap 25 pit stop where he took 4 fresh tires, a tank of gas. And maybe we'll get to see a green flag run here. I think next fuel window is going to be around lap 60 to 70 will be the next and possibly last time these drivers come down pit road. But still plenty of racing left as George and Mama will be battling for the 5th place spot. George may be one of those drivers that has fantastic short run speed, but kind of working his way towards the back a little bit. Over this run, he was as high up as 9 positions, now only 8 spots up. And it looks like Mitchell Mama closing the door fast in the 98 machine. There's Chris Sawyer, the number 25 machine. He's trying to get some laps back if he can help it. As here comes Mama in the 98, trying to work his way up just a little bit higher in the standings. This is the battle for 5th out on track. Now neither Mama or George are in the Chase playoffs, but they're here to race and race hard. And it looks like George may have it here ever so slightly. Yeah, George holding on to it against that 98. It's Ford versus Toyota in the battle for 5th. You got a little bit of lap traffic there as well with the likes of Chris Sawyer, who just wants to keep that lucky dog spot in case the caution is thrown once more. Ooh, a little bit of contact between George and Mama. And these are hands down the 2 closest drivers that are out on track together on the same lap. 3 drivers total running nose to tail here. Mama looking for every line he can try against the number 12 machine. Ooh, are we going to go 3 wide? It looks like we are. George squeezed in the middle. Mama's on the high line and Chris Sawyer down low. I think Sawyer backed out of it, realizing this is maybe not his battle to be involved in. Brian Lorenzo comes down pit road, as well as Joseph Jara for a green flag stop. Right now, though, all eyes on this battle for 5th. It's getting very, very heated. Sawyer tentatively looking for a way around here. And everywhere he looks, the number 12 of George right there with him. Ooh, what's this? Mama has backed off the pace heavily in the 98 machine. Falling a 2.5 seconds back from George. And now Mama closing the gap. Looks like Lewis has come down pit road, the number 14 machine. Checking back up front with Bradley Wilson. He's got a 3/10 advantage over Jeffrey Belk. Bradley Wilson trying to just maintain that gap, keeping the tire management in the back of his mind, because Jeffrey Belk, Ollie Reeves running 2nd and 3rd. Slowly closing the gap to the 51. Let's make it a little bit more rapidly there as it's down to 2/10. It's going to be the halfway point this time by. How is this going to pan out? Are we going to have a battle for the lead before the pit window is closed for Bradley Wilson? Wilson, Belk, Reeves all came down pit road together on lap 25. And it looks like everybody on the same strategy. Everybody taking tires, taking fuel. As let's look, Reeves and Belk. Will they battle each other here? Or they can do everything they can to catch up to Wilson, try and make something happen. Still less than about a half second separating these three drivers, first to third. They've been out on track for about 27 laps for this green flag run. And there's going to be a little bit of traffic to contend with. Always makes it interesting. Trying to see who that is. I wonder if that's Gallo in the 07. Yes, it is Gallo. Going up high to help facilitate the pass for the race leaders, not wanting to get run over or tied up in somebody else's mess. As so far, these top three just charging forward. Now, give you an idea, they are 6.5 seconds ahead of Bradley Hall in fourth. Mama in the 98 comes down pit road. Very interesting to see so many single car pit stops. Normally you'll see kind of packs of drivers come down pit road together so they have a draft partner when they roll out, but doesn't seem to be the case here in Las Vegas. And here we go, the battle for the lead about to unfold. It's Mr. Ollie Reeves in the 31, tucked up neatly behind Wilson. Oh, looks like Reeves looking for an opening here. Will Wilson fight too hard here? Is he going to try and fend off the 31, or is he going to try and just keep the tire wear underneath him? As Belk has fallen off by about 7/10, so now it's a two-car rodeo up front. Reeves dropping all the way down the apron, trying to make this Las Vegas Raceway just a little bit tighter to squeeze out hundredths of a second to try and improve on that lap time. Now, tire wear definitely a factor. Already, these drivers about 2 seconds off their fastest lap of the race. Last time by, both drivers in the 33 point, that's caught about 15 mark. And they were at the 31.15 mark early on here tonight. So 2 whole seconds. They've slowed down, battling tire wear and fatigue. Let's see, all eyes right now on Ollie Reeves to see if he's going to make a move against Wilson. They've got to be happy they built up a 1 second gap to Belk, who was very, very fast early on in the run. I'm wondering if these two are going to kind of get a bit of a breakaway before they start to battle here. Linked up nose to tail, Reeves is not letting Wilson get any sort of gap here. As we go on board with Ollie Reeves, taking a peek of the inside line of Wilson, not quite able to make it happen, but If that's not a great visualization of about what a tenth of a second looks like, I don't rightly know what will, ladies and gentlemen. As these two continue clicking off laps with Bradley Wilson up front. It's Wilson, Reeves, Belk, your top three, with Hall and Stevens rounding out the top five. Chris Sawyer in the 25 Chevrolet comes down pit road on lap 61. Reeves trying everything he can here. And look at the gap, 1.7 seconds now over Jeffrey Belk in third. Belk has 11.5 seconds over Bradley Hall in fourth. So some of these drivers kind of out here in no man's land, just clicking off laps. And I think in theory, Wilson and Reeves can continue checking out if they just link up nose to tail. Wes Gallo in the 07 down pit road on lap 63. Now both Wilson and Reeves are in the playoffs as Reeves looks to the outside line, trying to make something happen. Looks like Wilson's going to come down pit road here on lap 63. Giving Ollie Reeves a chance at a lap lead here in Las Vegas, up 4 spots from where he started. Jeffrey Belk down pit road, as well as Bryn George. I would imagine this will be their final planned stop of the evening. Now Reeves coming in tonight was second in points. He was 11 points behind Brian Lorenzo, who's having quite a rough go of it. And Reeves, as he dives down pit road, still looking for his first win of the season. It looks like he's had a pair of fourth place finishes, once at Chicago and once at Auto Club, but still looking for that first win thus far, just out of grip for the 31. And now it's going to be Bradley Hall, the 23 machine, opts to stay out in the Toyota. He'll get a lap lead. Oh, another one of those drivers that's not in the chase, but he's out here for bragging rights. Looks like he took a splash and go on lap 27 to get slightly off cycle. The longer he can go on this run, the better he's going to look for the final run of the evening. As now Jara comes back down pit road in the 88, their third stop of the night. We're going to pull up the timing tower, the left side of your screen, so you can see where your favorite driver is as these green flag stops work themselves out. Looks like Hall may be signaling for a pit stop. Looks like he's on the brakes. That causes the car to tighten up and push wide a little bit. And that is exactly what he was doing, getting set up to come down pit road. So I believe that's going to put Bradley Wilson back as your race leader. Ollie Reeves about 2.8 seconds back behind the 51 machine. And I think Wilson and Reeves should be good to go to the end here on fuel. That'll be about 36, 37 laps over the run, depending on when they came in. Wilson came in on 63, Reeves on 64. Now this is going to be interesting. Wilson, He seemed to have pretty good long run speed early on before this final pit stop for him. But Reeves was able to stay right there for the duration of the run. So now the big question is, will we see Ollie Reeves in the 31 machine? You can see him way back. Close the gap to Wilson. To be fair, Reeves has gained, he's gained a lot. Just about 0.6 of a second that last time by. Wilson clicked off at 32.3. Reeves with a 31.6. Wondered if Wilson maybe looking at his fuel and thinking, I could be a little bit short here, and trying to do some fuel saving early on during this run to guarantee he's got enough to go to the end, or especially if we see the often feared green-white checker come out. As it looks like Wilson has wicked it up last time by 31.7, actually gaining about a tenth and a half on Reeves. As the field very spread out here. Now Wilson still has to be very happy with how tonight's going. He came into tonight 5th in points. He lost 3 positions just last week. And he was 15 points behind your current points leader, Brian Lorenzo. But Lorenzo having a very rough night here. Was way down the backs, worked his way up to 4th with a bit of an undercut. But I think Lorenzo is going to be short on fuel. He came in a lap 45. That is a very long run to do with 65% fuel allotment. So I think Wilson is in a very good spot here to really salvage some points. Now Wilson does have 1 win so far this season. That was way back April 21st at Auto Club. Qualified on pole, led 55 laps out of 70, mind you, and finished in the top spot with 0 incidents. Looks like Alex Tallman coming down pit road, the number 8 machine, their final stop of the night, as Wilson continues to charge. Now Ollie Reeves has closed the gap to about 2.2 seconds to your race leader, but 27 laps left to go. I'm going to be interested to see what happens. Reeves 0.2 faster last time by. So in theory, if Reeves can keep that pace up, it's going to take about 7-8 laps for him to catch up to Wilson. But I have a sneaking suspicion we're not seeing Wilson give it its all here. I think these drivers are acutely aware of the tire management game. As it looks like Wilson getting back on the gas has extended the gap to 2 3/4 seconds over Reeves. So Wilson on that number 51 machine just absolutely on fire. He will have a little bit of traffic to contend with though, so that's going to be interesting how that pans out. I think that's going to be Bryn George, the number 12 machine, just ahead of the race leader. So now Wilson's got to be careful not trying to get too much in the vortex of danger, as we call it. Putting that car in a risky spot, so he will take his time with lap traffic. And this is an added bonus if he was worried at all about fuel. he will be able to pick up the draft from those ahead of him and maybe save a little bit more. We've got 24 laps left to go. It's Wilson, Reeves, Belk, Lorenzo, and Hall, your top 5. Just about everybody's last pit stop is between laps 63 and 65, except for Lorenzo with a massive undercut on lap 45. And that's my big question. Are we going to see Lorenzo come down pit road for a final green flag stop? Or will he maybe be saved by a caution here? Wilson working his way. That's number 12 of George just ahead. George goes high through 3 and 4 to allow the race leader by nice and easy. Now during this, Wilson hasn't lost a whole lot of time. He's still about 2.5 seconds up over Ollie Reeves. And Wilson absolutely on it. We did get confirmation behind the wall from our pit road reporter. Brian Lorenzo has come in the 77. The current points leader, this is not what he wanted here, as he's going to go a lap down to Bradley Wilson. Wilson in a fantastic spot to really close the points gap. He's got 20 laps left to go. Davis Lewis, the number 14 machine, also down pit road. Oh, how's this going to pan out tonight? Much less the championship here. Wilson still charging out front, 2.6 seconds ahead of Ollie Reeves. 5.7 ahead of Belk, but Brian Lorenzo way back in 9th, a lap down, just clicked off the fastest lap of the race, a 31.14. Over a second faster than anybody out on track, but with 17 laps left to go, I don't think he's going to have enough time to close anything up and maybe challenge for the lead. He really needs a caution, and he needs to be in lucky dog contention for everything to go his way here tonight. I just think too many things maybe against Lorenzo. As we watch number 51 Toyota Camry of Bradley Wilson. 16 laps left to go. Just clicking them off, making it look easy here. And the remaining drivers fairly spread out. I think out of the 14 that entered, we have 11 still out on track. Only 5 drivers on the lead lap here. And Lorenzo, just again, heartbreaking for the points here. The 77 machine, it was running so well here tonight. Now Davis Lewis clicks off the fastest lap of the race, a 31.07 as he sits in 10th in the 14. As it looks like Alex Tallman After lap 71 pit stop, catching up to Chris Sawyer's number 25, we may have a battle here for 7th, as pretty much the entirety of the field very stretched out over the run, the final run of the night. As here comes Tolman, the number 8 machine. Down one spot from where he qualified, trying to catch back up to Chris Sawyer. He's closed the gap now to about a quarter of a second. Tolman on much fresher tires, 12-lap fresher tires underneath them. Still racing left to go. He looks at the inside line of Sawyer. Side by side down the back stretch. Not much room between the two. It's 400s in closing to Sawyer. But here comes Tolman. It looks like he's going to take over that 7th place spot. Sawyer tries to answer up high, but just doesn't have the tire to do so. And just like that, Alex Tolman, the number 8, has moved back into 7th, exactly where he qualified. Panning back up front, Bradley Wilson, 2.4 seconds up over Ollie Reeves. Jeffrey Belk 3rd, Bradley Hall 4th, and Austin Stevens rounds out the top 5. Coincidentally, rounding out the drivers still on the lead lap. But hold up. Wait a minute. Up there is... Yep, that's what I thought. Austin Stevens in the 42, 5th on track, might go down a lap to Bradley Wilson, your race leader, as it's going to be 10 laps left to go this time by. Wilson making his way around Stevens, not having any issues there. And on his way to pick up the 2nd win of his season, barring any incidents, any sort of shenanigans. Last week at Phoenix, he had a rough night, finishing 16th after starting 3rd. He led 24 laps. So Wilson wants nothing more than a little bit of redemption, and it's going to really tighten up the points chase here. Is that Sawyer in the 25 machine? No, that's the 14 of Davis Lewis, who's still about 2 laps down here, blowing the doors off the side of Wilson. Now Lewis came in a lap 80 and took his final set of tires. 7 laps left to go. And looks like Reeves has closed the gap now to 1.9 seconds. Ran about 0.2 faster, but I wonder if that's because Wilson had that traffic to manage. It's going to be 5 laps left to go. Reeves has closed the gap to 1.6 seconds. Let's get a look at the lap times. Last time by, Wilson with a 33.2. Reeves 0.2 faster with a 33 flat. So he is indeed closing the gap to your race leader. But does he have enough time here? That is the million-dollar question when the points chase is just so close coming into the end of the season. Reeves working his way around. Chris Sawyer had to come down pit road very late on the final stop of the night. Found himself just a little bit under-fueled here. The gap has closed between Wilson and Reeves. 1 second between the two. Reeves has to find a whole lot of pace and has to do so quickly if he wants to get up there and battle for the race win. Now Reeves, even if he finishes second, having a good night. He'll gain some ground under Brian Lorenzo, your points leader. But 2 laps left to go. I think that number 31 machine's got a little bit of fire underneath him. Closing the gap now to Wilson, 0.8 of a second. What's going to happen here? White flag will be out this time by Bradley Wilson. Still runs 0.8 ahead of Ollie Reeves. Belk still third out on track, so I think Wilson may have it locked in here. And yes, it is looking like Bradley Wilson will pick up the win here at Las Vegas. Ollie Reeves going to bring it home second, and Jeffrey Belk will round out the top 3. In the top 3, no, that's going to be Wilson, Hall. Not quite sure the other, but gonna burn it down here. Gonna talk about those burnouts from Bradley Wilson. And the 51's gonna enjoy the limelight here, picking up a very well-deserved win. As the number 42 machine of Austin Stevens does the burnout on his behalf. We're trying to get our guys up here into the waiting room. And it looks like we've got Belk at least made it. But what a great race all the way around. Starting up first, we've got Jeffrey Belk joining us in the number 55 Toyota. Jeffrey, great run out there, up 1 spot from where you started, and A top 3. Can't complain too much about that.
No, I can't complain at all. It was a heck of a race, and it all came down to who had enough fuel in the tank at the end. I had enough for that last lap and one more, but I wanted to make sure I had enough in it.
Now, Jeff, after last week at Phoenix where we had those long opening green flag runs and kind of the polar opposite tonight, we had two quick early cautions. How did that change up the strategy, or did it for you in the 55 machine?
It kind of did because I usually try to go for longer runs, but you saw how hard I was having to fight there on the restarts. And props to the 51 for getting by on that restart. He had that inside line hooked up, but just all in all, the longer runs were better for us. But just having to push so hard to keep with everyone, and then the fuel saving at the end killed us.
Well, hey, it was still a great race, bringing home a relatively clean race car by the time it's all said and done, and very sharp looking as well in that Toyota. Jeffrey, who do you want to give a shout out to that helped you get up here inside the top 3 tonight?
As always, I'd like to thank Equipment Geek, Weak Designs for making the car, Sports Star Shock, the NASCAR Geek, W Energy, Dirtbag Clothing, and PigGlueGear.com.
Awesome, Jeff. Good time, good job out there. Good time talking to you, and hope to see you with that carried success in the very near future, my friend.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You as well, sir. That was Jeffrey Belk bringing home a third. Doesn't look like we're going to get Ollie Reeves up here, so we're going to go straight to our race winner, Bradley Wilson, picking up the win. Looked like you were absolutely dominant out there and couldn't have asked for a better night.
Definitely not, especially running out of gas right across the line. Just barely had enough to pull that one through.
Now, we were a little worried about the lack of victory burnout there, so that makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, are you still happy with the call to bring home or come down pit road on lap 63, or do you wish you stayed out just a little while longer?
I wish I could have stayed out longer. I went to the end of the fuel run of that and just kind of prayed that we saved enough during that green flag run to make it to the finish.
I guess, Brad, my final question for you, talking about green flag runs, early on we had 2 very quick cautions. Were you worried that was going to be kind of the norm this evening as, cautions breed cautions, we stagger everybody else, or were you pretty confident you were going to get a green flag run tonight?
I think the second half of the race would have gone green. Just with all the wrecks at the beginning, you had to think a little bit about it, and we planned on a long run, so that's what we went with.
Well, hey, glad it worked out well for you. This is going to definitely shake things up in the championship, and I'm looking forward to the remaining rounds. And Bradley, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, my friend, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout out to that's cheering you and that 51 Toyota on?
It's mainly my sponsors, Shenandoah Shine, .co, Matt Liveries, Martin Sports 906, everyone in the Shenandoah Shine team for coming together and helping me figure this track out.
Awesome. Brad, good job out there. Hope to have you back up here next week, and looking forward to some more action from you.
All right, thank you.
And that was Bradley Wilson bringing home the top spot here at the Coast to Coast Racing Thursday Night Xfinity Series, where it was Wilson the top spot, Reeves second, and Jeffrey Belk rounding out the top 3. As always, on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, my name is James East. Thank you all so much for tuning in, spending your Thursday night with us, and we look forward to having you back same time, same place next week. Have a great night, everybody.